There we go. It is in progress. All right. So once again, we're going to all be muted, and there will be time for questions at the end where you can either come off mute, or if you have questions throughout, you're welcome to type them in the chat. We're here today for a training session on registration and planning. Can everyone hear me okay? I always feel like I'm yelling. Do you feel like I'm yelling at you? No. Good. Okay. So today we'll talk about registration and planning for the Valley Giving Guide 2021. And that means we're going to hear from Liz McClure. She's running point on this event in terms of all the planning and materials that we all need to be successful. So she'll talk about the registration process and kind of walk through some examples of profiles. And then we invited our friend and colleague Karen Carmen from Hope Street to join us. She has some really awesome ideas to share about planning for the month-long event. So she's going to talk through some of that. Then we are going to hopefully have about 40 minutes for questions, so we can get to everyone's questions and comments. Okay? A couple reminders before we get started. This event is going to be as successful as we all make it. So we'll get out what we put in. Your participation here today is a really good sign. So let's give it our all, and let's do an amazing job together. The other thing, just a fun little reminder, this is an online giving event. We want our donors to go online and donate. We are able to process other forms of donations. If people have RMDs or appreciated stock or real estate, we can do all of that, and that will come through our office. But for most of our donors, let's get them online. We're here to help. The website's pretty straightforward, very easy to use, so let's just help our people step into 2021 if we can. All right? So with that, boy, we still have people joining us. With that, I am going to hand it over to Liz McClure to talk about registration.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to share my screen really quickly here. And I'm going to start off with just a brief kind of rundown of registration. So I know that a lot of you are already in progress on your registration, but if anyone hasn't started yet, you'll go to valleygivingguide.org. And if your nonprofit participated last year, you can skip straight to NPO login. When you click on that link, it'll take you to enter your email and a password. If you haven't set it up yet, you can use Forgot My Password and get that account created. If you're a new organization, then you'll want to go to the NPO registration tab. So this is what creates your login and your organization in the system. So once you have completed this form, then you can move over into the NPO login and use that email address and password that you created. So once you have done all of that and you're in the system, when you log in, it'll take you into your control panel. It'll have a list of all the tasks that we've assigned to your organization to complete before your registration is complete. And to work on those tasks, you'll want to go to the profile tab. So this is where all of the content that will be displayed on your page comes from. So I'm not going to go into details here since we did cover that in the previous training. If you have any questions about getting this information filled in, you can come to office hours this Friday with Greer from 10 to noon. And that link is on the main valleygivingguide.org website, where you can join the Zoom meeting. We also have on the BMCF website our training archive. So if you'd like to just watch the recording from that training, it's bluemountainfoundation.org/VGG for Valley Giving Guide. And you can scroll down. We have our email archive. If you missed any of the weekly email updates, those are all here. We have our training archive. So we've only had the one so far that talks about registration. So if you missed that, you can watch the recording there. And then we'll also be updating with more toolkits and materials as we get closer to the event. You can see our key dates, a quick facts about getting started, and then the anatomy of a giving profile. So I'm going to start there as we kind of look at some examples, and you can kind of see what that live page will look like. So the anatomy of a giving profile, the main components are the hero image at the top of the screen, your profile media, which is either a video or an image carousel, your profile content, which is all of the words that you want to type in and include, your logo, your contact information, and any web links. So this is where the link to your website, Facebook, or other social media will live. Once the event is live, it'll also include the amount raised and the total number of donations that your organization has received so far. But that section is just going to be blank right now and not visible until the event actually starts. So each of these items here corresponds to something on your control panel profile page that you can edit and update. So if you participated previously, we've already uploaded your logo for you that you provided last year. You can take that down and change it if you have a new logo, or if it just doesn't, the shape of it doesn't look right, you can fully edit all of that. And then your org name will appear in the hero image, and that's just whatever your organization is listed as. I don't think you can change that, but we can change that for you if for some reason there's an issue with your org name. So this is kind of an example of what your page will look like with a lot of kind of text over the top. And now I'm going to walk through just a few examples of pages that have already been working on theirs that are either close to done or maybe they're already done, just to kind of show you what the system can really do. I'm going to start by looking at our test organization that we've made. So this kind of highlights what each of the different text options looks like. So you can find this one by just searching for test organization on our website here, valleyGivingGuide.org. So you can see this is like the size your logo will be. This is what the contact information block looks like. And then when you're editing your profile content, there are a bunch of preset header sizes that you can use to kind of spruce up your text. So this just shows you roughly what the size is going to look like for those different options. So there's a quote option, there's bulleted list, numbered lists, you can add hyperlinks, and then a variety of just different sizes of text. So that shows you an example of what those options are. And this is just an example of the video slider that you can use. So those are rectangular pictures. Square pictures don't look as great in this, and they do tend to get cropped. But once you have submitted all the required information for your profile and we've approved it, then your page will become live and you can do those more fine-tuning edits and you can come and see your organization. So I've added in the counties tab and the categories tab. So once you have been approved, your organization will be listed on whichever category or county you've listed yourself as. So you can see really easily, you know, does your logo look clear? Does the size look great or not? If there's any issues and you want to upload a new file, you can do that by editing your profile. You can kind of look around and see what other nonprofits have been doing with theirs, how far others are, get some kind of ideas for your own page. So to kind of highlight some of the folks that have used some of those different text options, I'm just going to show a couple examples here. So BMAC, they use different headers, they use bullet points to kind of break up the text. The Choral Society has used that quote feature to kind of add a little bit more style as well as a different header. So those are great options to kind of make the text really pop out some more. And this is an example of that hero image. So the dimensions on it are a little goofy. On the anatomy of a giving profile, it shows 1400 pixels by 550 pixels. And that is also a little note that's in the profile update page when you're working on your profile. So as you can see, it cropped it a little not great. If you resize the window, you can really see that it will shift and change. So it's kind of hard to get the picture just right, but a little trial and error should be able to help you get that into a crop that works for you, and it looks pretty good no matter what size screen the individual is looking at the page on. And then Fort Walla Walla is another example of having that hero image. They've got the video embedded into their profile. It's a really great option if you have that. YouTube or Vimeo are the supported video types. So if you have those videos uploaded online already, you can just embed that directly into your profile. And they've really used the hyperlink option here to highlight other content that wouldn't have normally fit on the page. So that's another option. If you want to link to something else that really shares the story of your organization, you can do that as well. So those are just a few examples of really the options that you have. There's a lot of great information that you can include on here in really pretty attractive ways if you play around with those headers, if you play around with the lists and things like that. So those are just some jumping off point ideas. You can, of course, trial and error it once your organization is approved, and you can check that live page. We do encourage you to check out your logo, make sure it looks right, it's the right size. We encourage you to check any links. You know, they have a lot of hyperlinks here for Fort Walla Walla, so you want to check all of those links to make sure that they work, and check the links underneath your contact information as well to make sure that it takes you to your social media page. And then just check spelling. If you haven't already plugged whatever you've written into Word or Google Documents, or if you don't have a spell checker extension on your browser, just make sure that you double check that. You know, you don't want it to go live in November with any typos or errors or incorrect information. There was a little bit of confusion earlier between the print content and the profile content. So there is no character limit on the profile content. That is what you'll see here on your online page. I think some folks were mistakenly told to limit it to 4 lines of text, and that's not the case for the profile content. We do encourage you to keep it pretty brief. Keep in mind that donors may not have a lot of time to read through a lot of content on your page, and just a few paragraphs is usually a good starting point. And adding in those different headers and lists and things like that can break up the text and make it more readable. For the print content, though, there is the character limit of 255 characters. And this does include spaces, periods, commas, anything else that you might use while writing counts for those characters. So we really recommend plugging that into Microsoft Word, and you can use their review features to do a character count, and it'll show you the character count with spaces and without. We are looking at the with spaces for this field. So if you participated last year, it's copied directly from what you provided us for the last year's insert. If you have not participated, or if you just want to change it, you have time to do that, but that deadline is October 1st. That's really the key piece that has to be done by the October 1st deadline to register. If you have any changes you want to make to your online page, you can continue to make those up until the event starts in November, but you absolutely have to have the profile or the print content done by October 1st. So just to give you a brief idea, 250 characters is generally about 1 to 2 sentences. So it's really just a very short elevator pitch for your organization that just briefly explains what you do. And we do have an example of last year's print insert available. It's in our Dropbox account. So this shows what the insert really will kind of look like. So this was last year. It has everyone's logo, and it has that brief print content description and your website. So that's really the only information that'll be included in the print insert for each organization. And again, that's the October 1st deadline. If you want to come online and check out this print insert, it's in our Dropbox. That link is available on our bluemountainfoundation.org/VGG page under the marketing materials section. So that takes you to the Dropbox where we have the logo files, we have the NPO diagram here, as well as on the website. We have some resources, just a lot of materials, and more will be added. We are kind of holding off at the moment on providing the marketing materials themselves because it's just too early to start marketing. But once we are ready for that in October, we'll be providing all of that as well. So there'll be flyers and postcards and other things that you can just download, add your logo to it, print it, mail it, and do whatever you'd like with it. So that will all be coming to the Dropbox in the next few weeks, but we're just kind of waiting until it gets a little closer to the event before we release all of that information. So that is kind of my quick touch on registration. And now I'm going to pass it over to Karen from Hope Street to talk a little bit about planning and share just some of the ideas that she's already thinking about for her organization.
Thank you, Liz. So Greer asked me to just share some of the ideas. I don't claim to be an expert on this at all. I just have lots of ideas in my head. When I started thinking about the whole month and trying to figure out ways to engage our donors without just asking for money over and over, a couple gals on my board sat down and we came up with some ideas that would make our donors feel more excited about what we were doing than just asking money. We've created kind of a spreadsheet I actually have of the month, and about 3 times a week, we have some new way to get them engaged. I will give you an example, and that is, so we run a recovery house for women. So we're a 12-step program. So on December 12th, we are asking for people to donate $12 if they have have benefited from a 12-step program, or somebody in their family has, or something like that. We have, one of our days is Ladies' Day, because we are women in recovery. If you're a woman and you want to empower other women, we have a Friends and Family Day, where if you have had a friend or family who has struggled with substance use disorder or have lost somebody to that, we're going to encourage people to donate on that day. And then as well on that day, this will all be linked through our social media. On that Facebook post, we'll have them enter their names of who it is that they're honoring. And then the following day, I will have put all those names into a short little video, and that we'll post up on our social media of all the people that were honored the day prior to that. We have a few other ideas we're still working out, but we have one. I know that we get a match with the foundation, but we are in talks with a couple of people to do another day that is a match. That's a corporation that's going to match for that, just that day. And one of the other ones is the snowball firing squad. This is a good one. Greer helped me with this. So we are going to pick a certain amount for a day. And this is just random. I'm just saying, like, say I pick $500 for today. If we reach $500, then either one of our employees or one of our board members will stand in front of a snowball firing squad, which I will video the next day and then post it. And Greer told me if it's not snowing, you can actually buy a snowball kit on Amazon. So I will have to do that as a result. But those are just some of our ideas. We have quite a few more. So we'll be doing it about 3 times a week. We're going to push this all through our social media, and we have a good social media following. So that really does help us to draw those in. On this little spreadsheet that I have, it has down everything that I'm going to need. So I'm going to create all those social media posts ahead of time, so they're done. If there's any videos that I have to make that are of us explaining what this is about and that type of thing, I'm going to have those all created ahead of time, so I won't have to scramble during that month to get that done. The other thing is, I'm just going to say this. If you guys are not using Canva, in case when I talk social media posts, sometimes that is a little overwhelming to people, use Canva. It's a free service that creates really professional looking social media posts. And you can drop in all your information, your logo, your colors, whatever it is that you want to do. And they're really professional looking, which is nice, because I personally am not a designer and I cannot do that on my own. So I think that's about it. We're just trying to figure out ways to engage people and be really excited about it, and see, like, okay, what's going to be on there this week? What's going to be something fun or engaging for them to do? So I think that's it, unless Greer, you had anything else you wanted me to share.
No, excuse me. Thanks, Karen.
Mm-hmm.
I think you all can see why we asked her to come and speak about her plans because she has everything lined out. And when she was talking to me about all of her ideas, I was like, oh, that's a good idea. We should do that. We should do that. And then I shared it with Liz and we were like, oh, she needs to talk to everybody. Um, so thank you so much, Karen. It's a really good example of getting out what you put in. Even if not every single one of her social media campaigns or posts is that successful overall, Hope Street is going to have a lot of exposure to their donors, current donors and new donors with this plan. So it's really exciting, and she has offered to, brainstorm a little bit if people have ideas. I'm also happy to help. I will say I'm not as skilled as Karen is, but I'm happy to bounce ideas around. So thank you, Karen. And Liz, we're going to hand it back to you for just a couple more quick items.
So kind of jumping off of what Karen was talking about with social media, we do have a social media content scheduler Excel file that we have included in the Dropbox. Let me pop my screen share back up here. So this is somewhere that you can kind of start thinking ahead about what you want to post on your different social media channels. So it has a couple of examples inside the file already. So you can kind of put in each social media website that you use. It has different weeks. You can set up those dates to match when the event is live, and just start kind of planning out what you want to post, videos, pictures. You can link it to the content on your computer, so it's all in one place and easy to access. And then you can just start scheduling your posts in advance as well. So Facebook is really great. It has a great feature where you can upload all of your pictures and logos and things like that, and you can schedule your posts in advance and schedule them to post automatically for you. So when the day comes and the time comes, it'll just post for you, and it kind of takes something off of your plate. So you have a couple months here before the event starts to really get your game plan organized and uploaded and ready to go. So we do encourage that. And then you also just have this time to really grow that social media audience. So start posting more on your Facebook, experiment with different kinds of posts, pictures or videos, different times of day that you post, and just kind of see which posts have more interaction from your followers, just to give you a really good idea of what times of day, what times of the week would be a great time to post your appeals during the event. And the more data that you have for your specific followers, the more tailored you can make your plan. So it's a good time to just grow your following, to analyze kind of what they're doing. Facebook has great insights that will show you, when they're online, how long they spend on your content, how they interact with it. So there's a lot of tools that are for free and available for you. So we definitely recommend kind of taking a peek at those insights and looking around in there. So one other thing that we have that will hopefully help drive people to donate to your organization are the prizes. So we have a prize calendar that we've come up with that's available in the Dropbox as well. So it starts really with Giving Tuesday. So the first prize will be for the most donors received on Giving Tuesday. So that will be unique donors. So if you have the same person who comes in and makes 5 separate donations, it'll only count as one. And then each Monday we'll have a golden ticket. So during the golden ticket hours, we'll select one donation at random, and that donation will receive a bonus on it. So we just decided to spread it out different times of day on each Monday. That way, you have your early bird day, and you have your night owl day, and like your afternoon folks. So the first one, 6 to 10 a.m., we'll pick a random donation from that time period, and it'll get a bonus added to it. So we'll be announcing all of these on social media. We'll be, of course, emailing the MPO that has that winning donation so that they know it's coming. But it's just a really great way to drive excitement. So definitely be on your social media, be sharing that it's a golden ticket hour or time period, just to get folks excited. And then we'll also be doing weekly prizes for the most raised and the most unique donors. So those weekly prizes are going to run Wednesday to Wednesday. So the first one will cover donations received December 1st to December 8th. And we'll be announcing all of those weekly prizes on Thursdays, just so that, you know, folks who donate late on Wednesday, we can still get those counted. So expect those announcements on Thursday morning as to which organizations won the weekly prizes. And then we'll have our overall prizes at the end of the event. So we'll be doing most raised by category. So each nonprofit is assigned a category, and we'll be picking the most raised for each of those. And then most unique donors overall. So just of all the organizations participating who had the most donors. We'll also do a post-event nonprofit survey, and we'll pick a random person that completed it to get an extra $100 for their organization. And then we'll also be sending out a survey to donors just to kind of get some great data on how many organizations they supported, if they supported any new organizations, and information like that. So folks that complete that will be in the running to have another $100 added to their nonprofit of choice. So those are the prizes that we're offering this year. Each nonprofit can win each prize once. So that means you can win one golden ticket, you can win one weekly most raised, and one weekly most donors. You can win the weekly most raised and most donors in the same week, or you can kind of strategize around this. So maybe have some big donations that you're trying to get in a certain week, and then the following week you can focus on, you know, your $25 or your $50 donations, and just try and win both of those prizes. If a winner is selected that has already won the prize previously, we will select the next one. So if you win weekly most raised week 1 and you have the most raised the second week, we'll be picking the second place organization, just to make it a little bit better for, you know, spreading the wealth of the prizes. So as I mentioned, the prizes will be announced on Thursdays for weekly. Golden tickets will be announced on the same day, with the exception of the 27th, since it ends at midnight. We'll be announcing that one on the morning of the 28th. All of the overall prizes will be announced on January 5th. And that just gives us time for any late donations that are still making their way to us. And then the key thing to remember is that the prize money is all bonus. It comes at the very end. So that money will not be included in the total that will be used to determine your matching pool share. So it's all just extra on top that we get you at the very end. So you can kind of use this calendar to strategize which weeks you want to focus on or which golden tickets you want to focus on. And again, that is available in our Dropbox, where we'll be adding even more planning materials. Okay, I think that is everything that I had. Greer, back to you.
Thanks, Liz. All right, so we did a really good job of keeping that short and sweet. Hopefully, well, we recorded this, so you can always revisit the video. But now we're gonna open it up for questions. So feel free to use the raise your hand feature. That's kind of the easiest way since we have a large group today. Or just come off mute. I should have had a plant question asker because now we're gonna have a little bit of awkward silence.
Lenore had a question in the chat. What is a unique donor? So a unique donor just means that a donor will only be counted once. So if you have a donor that donates multiple times throughout the event for you, when we are calculating that most unique donors prize at the very end, that individual would only count one time.
Karen, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I was gonna say, so that hero image, and you guys, we were talking about that yesterday, the dimensions that they have listed there, I went and plugged in those exact dimensions and made an image that size, but when I plug it in, it doesn't fit that size. So I don't know if those dimensions are not exactly right. I had to monkey with it to get it just right, but I just don't want people to try and, you know, use those dimensions and then be like, okay, wait, it didn't work, because it didn't work for me, at least.
That's really helpful, Karen. We will reach out to the tech guys and see kind of what's going on there. It does seem like it's a little short, like maybe it's not the right height, so we'll get that figured out and get those notes updated as well.
So I see a question, highest and lowest amounts donated. So as a result of input at our last training session, we have opted to have no minimum donation. So if you, Karen was talking about doing $1 donation day, let's do it. If you have a grandchild who wants to do a bake sale and donate the proceeds from that in, coins, let's do it. We'll make it happen. The maximum is, so the maximum, there's no maximum. The maximum donation per donor per organization that's eligible to receive the bonus pool bump at the end is 25,000. So we can have a donor who donates 300,000 and spreads it across 100 organizations. Each one of those organizations will get the bonus match because that will be less than 25,000 per organization. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm seeing some nods. I see a question about dimensions again. Okay, and Karen answered it. All right, so she used the dimensions that were recommended, but then had to scale it a little bit. Oh, John McCoy, I see your hand up. Here we go. If you unmute.
Good morning, Greer. I'm helping Bill Pogue with Skyline Adventures, helping him put the profile together.
Great, welcome.
So I just real easy question. So do I understand that there's no real way to preview your profile or before it gets posted up, but what you do is get it posted and then iterate on it to improve it through that process. Is that correct?
That's correct. As soon as you complete the required tasks, I can approve it. And then you'll be able to see it live, like the ones that Liz demoed. And the profiles are editable all the way through the event if you want to. The October 1st deadline is to claim your profile. So to do the required tasks to let us know that you in fact want to be involved. And then to make sure that the print content is exactly what you want printed, because we are literally pulling that straight from the website and sending it to the UB. Everything else you can change as you see fit.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
There's a question about the matching. Let me pull up our sponsor list here and just see where exactly we're at. But Greer, do you want to start with that?
Sure. So the matching. So the match this year, we're calling it the bonus pool. And that is a big pot of money that Cole has worked to secure from sponsors. And that goes into the bonus pool, and that is made available as the bump at the end of the event for all of our nonprofits. We're trying to avoid saying the word match because frequently people think that that's 100%. And unfortunately, unless any of you have an in with Jeff Bezos, we probably aren't going to get to 100% match this year. But we are going to get to 10 or 15% match, hopefully. And that's all dependent. The reason why I don't even have a solid number on that is that depends on how much y'all raise and how much more sponsor money we can secure. So it'll be variable until January when we actually know totals. But it'll be around 10 to 15%. And our software guys who are very experienced running events like these say that 10 to 15% is not only a great number, but definitely enough to motivate donors. They really like the idea that their money will go that 10 or 15% further for their favorite organizations. Liz, did you find your,
Almost. So we're shooting for having around $200,000 available for that matching pool. So then it will just depend on how much overall is raised.
and my goal for all of us is to raise $1 million. So, let's do that, please. Okay, sound good?
And Mary, yes, we will be sharing the sponsors. I'm just still kind of wrangling some logos and getting all that together. We do have a couple anonymous sponsors, but yes, we'll be sharing who the sponsors are, promoting them on the website, promoting them on social media, and asking all of you to do the same and thanking our sponsors for providing those bonus dollars.
All right, Isla Dawn.
Yeah, I'm curious because I know not everybody uses Facebook at the same rate. So I was wondering if you guys could share a couple of pointers on what's relevant to share to like grow your audience, or what's like some good, I don't know, teasers as we lead up to kind of this marketing, just, and that may be aware available in the Dropbox. And if it is, I'm sorry that I haven't looked at it.
No, that's okay. So my first thought when you asked that question, because I feel exactly the same way, I don't really know what I'm doing, which is why I don't work in marketing. But I do know that it's very inexpensive to boost posts. So if you're trying to grow your audience, you can actually go in and pay $5 and boost it to 1,000 people who have never seen your page before. You can boost it to friends of friends, and that's a really good way to get it out there. A couple other things that I know of, again, I feel really silly. I know Jim Wilson's on here and he's actually like a professional marketing person. So maybe he'll come off mute. But you know, people like photos. People are not going to read paragraphs, especially on social media. It has to be short, has to be fun, catchy, a picture of a, well, you work with kids, so kids and puppies. Okay, Jim, come off mute and fill it in here.
Yeah, I know how to use Facebook, but I don't know how to use a mute button. I think you were completely nailing it. I think that the key really is you used the word several times where it's about engagement. So you want it to be very short, and you want to have a clear call to action. So the call to action could be part of what you could use this for is to have more followers to your page. So one thing I think every nonprofit here should do is use all of this activity and say, please like our page, because if they like your page, then subsequent posts, they'll be more visible. You can also ask people to take action like share your page. So please take this. And so what you're trying to do is you're extending your reach. You want more and more eyeballs. And so with all those things, it's keeping it short, keeping it, they use the term clickbait, but just the idea of just something kind of hopefully maybe make somebody smile, feel a warm fuzzy. It could be a cool quote, and then yeah, but with authenticity for your organization. So yeah, I think those are all the things. I think most folks, and I love the notion about doing a couple of boosts, trying that out. Again, you can use this short campaign as a way to sort of test and grow your overall following on the various social platforms.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate you.
Use your network. So, get your friends, your family to share posts, get your staff, your volunteers, your board members, make those posts go viral, get folks sharing it, and then their friends will share it. So just really rely on those big supporters that you already have that can help you really spread the word.
So Shelley, I see your question in the chat. That's a really good question. And it's, again, I'm not in marketing, but it's about sort of spinning it. It should be 10 to 15%. We've secured 200,000. So if we raise collectively $1 million, that's a 20% bonus pool. So if we go over $1 million, you can do the math. So it's safe. It's safe, I think, to say it'll be about 10 to 15%. There's definitely a match. And it's free money. It's bonus money no matter what it is. So I hope that might help. I know donors like to have specifics. And it is a challenge. There will be an option for donors to add to the bonus pool. So maybe you could, your donors who really want to have like an exact number, you can tell them that they can boost it up with an extra $5 or whatever to make a contribution to the bonus pool for the betterment of all. Liz, do you have any ideas about how to spin that any different than what I'm saying?
The thing that comes to mind for me is just, the more you raise, the more bonus dollars you get. So really framing it as helping you guys get a good piece of that bonus pool pie.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing you can do, Shelley, is if you have a donor who's, hammering on you about that, ask them to do a third-party match. You can secure your own match and have that be available through a third-party donor that then will show up on your page in your total as donors donate. So not only will you get the bonus pool at the end, but you would have that other one that could be 100% match. You can work it out with your donor. Karen mentioned doing one for a specific day. So you can have, someone who's sponsoring your day and they're going to match every donation that comes in, or you could have someone give you $10,000 and match up to the, the first 10,000 or whatever. So you can get creative with that, especially if you have a donor. I don't know, I'm thinking of in Dayton, people we know in Dayton. I know they like to have details in Dayton. So yeah, just spin it back around on them and get them engaged. So Arendra, that's a really good question. We're available to help, and Liz is putting together a bunch of social media assistance materials and marketing materials. She sort of touched on that a little bit. We aren't sharing that quite yet because we don't want this event marketed publicly quite yet. We're still in the building phase. Yes, Iladon. Iladon says social media is a good opportunity for youth to help and volunteer. So we will provide a bunch of resources. I'm available to help during office hours with Greer on my Friday office hours. Otherwise, it's kind of, if you know people, I know there are people who are available to help in town. Jim just shared a bunch of wisdom. There are resources online. I know that that's sort of answering the question with the question, but if you look it up online, there are a lot of guides, how to schedule social media campaigns, stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of a tough, we have a lot of organizations that feel a little out of water, and I'm just really hoping that they'll reach out to us, let us help as much as we can, come to office hours, let's talk it through, we can build a schedule, and get everybody comfortable with what we're doing. Liz, do you have any other thoughts about that?
I think, just trial and error too. If you don't have a lot of experience, you do have time to get some experience. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, like some professional, super fancy thing. Just getting out any information about your organization to folks where they can see it is huge. So don't count yourself out if you don't have a lot of experience. I think, trying to boost posts, just trying to get some nice pictures or things like that. There's a lot that you can do with little skill or little experience to still make it a success.
Thanks, Liz. I did have a couple thoughts while you were talking. That was perfect. So Isladon suggested a Help a Friend Day where you can tag another organization, either a partner organization or a counterpart, and raise awareness of someone else to your audience. So y'all can definitely plan that. We can get a group together, we can coordinate it, like, let's do it. We're all in this together. So any way I can facilitate that, that would be great. The other thought I had, so the software system that we use is designed by a company, and the 3 guys that we are working with are very good at they sort of consult with us. That's not the right word, but they provide a lot of feedback about approaches to sharing Giving Day strategies. And Thon, who is the head of the company, will be joining us on October 15th. So I would encourage everyone to come and pick his brain on techniques and ways to go about getting your audience engaged through social media. He's very, very skilled and experienced with that. I do know that in the platform, they've designed a way so when donors are done with their transaction, there will be a pop-up that says, share what you did or share your support, and it'll post to their social media if they click it. And so then their audience will see that they've participated in the Valley Giving Guide. And then the software will actually track your donors who have done that, so we can, say thank you to them later. The other thing, have any of y'all met Crystal Evans with the Nonprofit Development Center? Yeah, Emily's nodding. So Crystal Evans is the head of the Nonprofit Development Center, which is a new sort of collaborative effort in town. But I betcha she would have some resources and or would be willing to put together maybe a small cohort to do a workshop on social media training for us. She really likes it when I commit her to things that I haven't talked to her about. So that's what I'm gonna do. But she knows a ton about that as well, and is really interested in helping all of our nonprofits. So I'll talk to her and see if we can get something coordinated. Okay, there have been a lot of posts on the chat, Liz. I have not been following those.
There have not been questions. It's more
Okay.
resources.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Consultant directory. All right. Does anybody else have any
Got a
questions?
question from Jim about how they can access the example for the profile. So there's a couple of different spots. There's a PDF in the Dropbox of the NPO profile diagram, and then it's also on our website, bluemountainfoundation.org/VGG under NPO profile anatomy. So that's where you can see where it's broken out with which sections will appear on the page. And then you can just see an example from the Kitsap giving event, which our CEO Cole put on before he came to BMCF. And so that's kind of where we pulled some of our examples from, since it was an event that happened earlier in the year and it's already done. So that's where you can find those examples.
And I just threw the Dropbox link back in the chat again, Jim. So you can click on that and bookmark it if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay. If we're winding up on questions, I'm going to look at my agenda and carry on. Does that sound good?
I have one more question.
Eleanor, yes.
How do you get to the Dropbox link?
I just threw it in the chat. Do you have your
Oh.
chat open?
Yes. Got it.
Okay, and then once you click through, you could bookmark it, and then you know where it is every time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so training schedule. Our deadline to confirm that you want to be included is October 1st. That means you need to go in and do the required profile tasks. Those are pretty clear on your profile. As Liz showed you, they're the fields highlighted in red, and then there are a couple check boxes that you need to do. Again, once you do those, I can approve your profile, and then you can see what it actually is looking like on the live site, and you can continue to make changes. After October 1st is when we'll pull the print content for the newspaper inserts, but everything else is still flexible. So our next training, excuse me. Yeah, our next training is on September 29th. We'll do this again. We'll talk a little bit about planning and then social media, and we'll have Thon with us from our software company. It's called Protea, and he will join us, and we can pepper him with all sorts of questions. It's quite fun. I have office hours this Friday, and then this Friday, September 17th, and then Thursday, September 30th, so the day after our next training. So we have 2 office hours and 1 training between now and our deadline of October 1st. The office hours link is on the home page of the Giving Guide. It's a live link, so when you click it, you come right into the meeting. So that's why it's kind of not sent out like a Zoom invitation, but please join me. You can just pop in whenever, anytime between 10 and noon on Friday, and we can talk through whatever you want to talk through. The other thing I have for you all is please take a look and see who we're missing. We want every local nonprofit that's eligible to be included. This is a collaborative effort. Rising tide lifts all boats, all those things. So if you notice that somebody's not here, or if you hear of an organization that doesn't know about this, tell them to email me or tell me to email them. We want all of our local nonprofits, as many as we can get, to join us. So definitely let me know. And Gina, I have talked to her. She joined me at my very first office hours. So she's not here now, but she is aware, and they are working on it. Okay, now the fun stuff. We have prizes for our attendees. Are y'all ready? Isladon's ready. Okay, so the way this is going to work today, you're going to want to open up your chat. Liz is monitoring the chat. The first correct answer to each of the questions gets the $25 gift card to the place of your choice. Yeah, it can be Colville Street Patisserie. Yeah. It can be the market at Blue Mountain Station in Dayton. Yeah. It can be wherever you want. Do y'all have your chat open? Okay. The first question is the toughest. On August 19th, in my weekly email about the Valley Giving Guide, my salutation was, Ayo. What is this from, and why is it relevant to this group? Everyone's face is just like a blank stare. I even said in my email, this may or may not be a trivia prize question at our next training session. And yes, it was a test to see who's reading. Sure, Isladon. Isladon asked if we can use a lifeline. I don't know how that works. Apparently nobody on this call knows except me.
I think that means you win the gift card, Greer.
Can you ask the question again? I'm sorry.
No apologies. I can totally ask it again.
You should type it in the chat too. Some people are visual.
That's true. Okay. So on August 19th, my salutation in my weekly email was Ayo. What is that from and why is it relevant to this group? No, Norma, but you are on the right track.
That honestly makes more sense than the answer, I think.
As you can see, I get a lot of heckling in my office. I mean, it was Elena, but that's not the answer. Here, I'll type the word, or the whatever it is.
The sound.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a clue. No. Wow, I have just totally stumped everyone.
I told
Well-
you. I told you.
Okay, thanks all. Now Liz is gonna gloat at me for the
Oh,
rest of the week.
Debbie. Debbie chimed in with Lady Gaga.
Yes, Debbie.
That's
And
half of
why is it relevant to this group? That's at least a $10 gift card, just getting that. Oh no, Emily. Oh, we'll add you to the list. You can still answer the question if you know the answer.
I think you need to reveal the answer, Greer.
All right, y'all, it's on our Spotify playlist for the Valley Giving Guide 2021. We have, yes, Joanne was Lady Gaga's aunt, and she has an album titled Joanne, and it's fabulous. And the song, Ayo, is on our playlist, which you should all be listening to while you work on your profiles, because it's fabulous. So I think Debbie is definitely gonna get like part of the prize. And possibly Isla Dawn for that little nugget. All right, moving on. Y'all, at our next training, I'm gonna come up with a similarly ridiculous prize question, and Liz is gonna make fun of me for it, and somebody needs to come in like ready to rock and roll, okay? I'm just saying, you've been warned. All right, along the same lines, I just wanna know, what's your favorite song on the playlist? Throw it in the chat. That's right, you do, Catherine. Which one?
Nice, Elena.
No, Sweet Home Alabama is not on the playlist. Catherine W., do you know that there are 2 songs titled Downtown on the okay. Oh yes, Pink Sunglasses, that's a good one. Okay, so let's see. That Liz McDevitt, Lady Gaga is a person, not a song. But thank you for participating. All right, so we've got Catherine Witherington gets a prize, and I think Karen Carmen's gonna get a prize. All right, last one. This is not about the playlist, you guys, so everybody has a fair shot. According to our countdown, how many days until the Valley Giving Guide launch?
Wendy got in there first.
Yes, she
75
did.
days.
All right, so those are my questions. We have prizes. I will be emailing you to get your preferred place for your gift cards. We'll share the recording of this meeting, and the resources are on our Dropbox, on our website, at the givingguide.org website. They're all over. If you still can't find them, please email me. I am trying very hard to respond to everybody. Sometimes my responses make no sense, but we'll just keep trying until they do. Okay, thank you all for being here. Join me on Friday, 10 to noon for office hours. And read your weekly emails, because you never know what nuggets I'm going to throw in. Okay, thanks all. Bye-bye.
Elena, the office hours are virtual.